Hi guys, welcome to T.9, surface area and volume of similar solids. Okay, so this one's going to be significantly harder than T.8, so gear up and get ready. It's all going to be about proportions, but we're going to have to really pay attention to the language when they're talking about length, which is also like side length, area, and volume. Okay, so the relationship they have with each other, we can set them equal to each other, but we have to be careful. If we're comparing lengths to area, we do have to, area is always squared and volume is always cubed. Okay, and then side is one dimension. All right. So what they're referencing here is B to A. So B and A represents side lengths. So you can compare side lengths that are corresponding, which they're saying B to A. And then if you want to turn it into the area ratio, you simply square it. And then if you want to find out the volume ratio, you cube B and A. So everything's going to come from the side ratio, and we just go from there, okay? So let's go ahead and jump in. Do read the questions carefully. So I'm going to put up here side length, area, and then volume. Okay, so side length's one-dimensional, area is squared, volume is cubed. This is kind of going to be a little key I'm going to reference when I look here. So what is the volume of the smaller triangular prism? Okay, so what did they give me here? They gave me side lengths that are corresponding, and then they gave me volumes that are corresponding. So I'm going to do side lengths compared to volume. Remember that volume is cubed, okay? So if I were to compare side lengths, I would say 3 is to 7. That's comparing side lengths. And then volume, V1 goes with 3, so it would be V1 is to 9,261. Okay, now this is where it's important. Volume is cubed, side length is not. So I cannot just cross multiply yet because volume is centimeters cubed, okay? And then side length is centimeters. So for me to cross multiply properly, the first thing I need to do is I need to cube side length to make it cubic. So it's in the same units of measurement. So 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, that's 27. And then 7 cubed is 343, okay? And then, of course, that's centimeters cubed on both ends. And then that's going to equal volume 1, which is what we're trying to find, and then over 9,261 centimeters cubed. Since everything's in centimeters cubed, now I can cross multiply. So clearly I don't need to pay attention to centimeters cubed anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and cross multiply. So 343 343 times V1 equals, and that would be 27 times 9,261. So that's 250047. And then I'm going to divide by 343. And that gives me 729. So V1 is 729. Okay, guys, so the hardest part is just making sure that everything's in the same dimensions before you cross multiply. So please don't just be robotic and cross multiply once you have a proportion set up. Okay, so this one's the exact same, obviously just different numbers. So try it on your own and push play when you're ready. Okay, so this one is comparing side length and volume's cubed. So I'm going to say 5 is to 9 as 125 is to V2. Now remember, guys, side length has to be in the same units of measurement, so I need to cube the side length to make it cubed as well. So 5 cubed is 125. 9 cubed is too big for me to remember. That's 729 equals, 125 over V2. All right. Well, as you can see, when I go ahead and cross multiply here, V2 is going to become this 729 because I got 125 up top. So V2 is 729. All right. Let's try our next one. So here they're giving me side lengths of pyramids, and they're saying, what is the ratio of the surface area of the larger rectangular pyramid to the surface area of the smaller? Okay, so remember it goes side length, area, volume. Area is cubed. They're saying surface area. So right now I can find my side length ratio, which is a 4:2 ratio. Okay, so that's side length. Now to get it to an area ratio, remember area is squared, so what I need to do is square this. So 4 squared 16, and 2 squared is 4. And then obviously 16 divided by 4, that's 4/1. And they said, write your answer as the ratio of two whole numbers separated by a colon. So my answer here would be a 4:1 ratio. If you were like, why didn't you reduce in the beginning, Miss Cunningham? Sometimes I just don't, but I totally could have. So I could have reduced in the beginning, would have had smaller numbers. So this would have become 4/2 is 2/1. And then to square from there, that becomes a 4:1 ratio. So I could reduce in the beginning, just I chose not to. All right, here we go. Figures below are similar. So here they're giving me volume, corresponding volumes, and they want the ratio of the height of the smaller cone to the height of the larger cone. So we have height is the same as side length or width or whatever. So height is singular, and then volume is cubed. So what they gave me is the volume ratio, which is 216 to 4,096. Now I am being very careful. It's saying smaller to larger. So smaller is up top, larger is on the bottom. And they want me to find side length or height, which is the same ratio. So I have to go backwards, guys. So what that means is I have to find the cubed root of both of these numbers to get into the side length ratio. So I need the cubed root of 216. So I'm typing into my calculator the cubed root of 216. Okay. And that's 6. And then I need the cubed root of 4,096. And that is 16. Now, always, always, always reduce. So this would become a 3:8 ratio, and they want it as colon, so it would be a 3:8 ratio. So obviously I could have reduced in the beginning, but I didn't. I chose not to. For me, I like to reduce in the end. All right, guys. So here we have one. Why don't you try on your own and push play when you're ready? All right, so here we have the heights, and then they're giving me the ratio of the cone's volumes of 1 to 27. So I'm going to go ahead and write that here. Volume is 1 and volume is 27. So they're giving me the ratio of it. That's not the volume. So this pink cone, the volume isn't 1, but it's just the ratio. So they had like reduced the fraction. So I'm going to set it at the same. So h is to 3. Now those are side lengths. So we're doing side length and volume. Volume's cubed. So I'm going to say h is to 3 as 1 is to 27. Okay. Now let's be careful here because volume is cubed. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to cube my side lengths to make it in the same units of measurement. So this would become h cubed. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Is 1/27. Okay, so I can see my denominators are the same. So that means 1 has to equal h cubed. And the cubed root of 1 is going to be 1. So 1 is h. Okay, it's an interesting one, right? Now, I didn't have to cube the left-hand side. Oops, I could have, that was an h, I could have cubed rooted the right-hand side. The cubed root of 27 is a 3, and the cubed root of 1 is 1, and I could have gotten that. You could do it that way as well. You get the same answer. So my answer here is a 1. 1s are nice. Okay, guys, why don't you try this on your own? Push play when you're ready. Okay, so here they gave me side lengths, and now we have decimals. We always have to do some decimals here. If the ratio of the rectangular prism's surface area is 9 to 16, so I'm going to say area is 9 and area is 16. Okay, so guys, check this out. Side length and then area squared. Okay, so when I set up my proportion, n is to 5.6 as 9 is to 16. So I have options because, well, I'm going to put my units of measurement here because it makes a little bit more sense when you see it. I could square my left-hand side and go for it that way, and then I'd be in inches squared. Or I could square root the right-hand side. And I'm going to choose to square root the right-hand side because 9 and 16 are perfect squares. So that's just it's going to make numbers nice and smaller. So I would have h over 5.6 equals 3 over 4, okay? It doesn't get rid of the decimal or anything. It just makes it smaller numbers. So then I'm going to cross multiply. So 3 times 5.6 is 16.8 equals 4h. And then we divide by 4. That gives me 4.2. That's it. All right. Let's see, the figures below are similar. The surface area of each figure is given. So they gave me surface area, and they want the ratio of the height of the smaller to the ratio of the larger. Okay, so we've got, they want height is also known as side length. Okay, so we're dealing with side length and area is always squared. So what they're giving me is 64 over 196, and that's the side or the area ratio, and they want the side length ratio. So currently that's squared, so I'm going to square root it to get it into the side length ratio. Square root of 64 is 8, and the square root of 196 is 14. And then always reduce, so this would become a 4 over 7, which they want to see it separated by colons. So this would be a 4 to 7 ratio. Okay, so here they're giving me two triangular prisms. They look like tents. And they want the ratio of the base of the smaller triangle to the ratio of the base of the larger one. So, I didn't do this on the previous ones. You don't really need to. Base is also known as side length. It's anything in that category, like base, height, width. So I'm doing side length to volume, okay? And what they're giving me is the volume ratio. So the volume ratio would be 125 to 343. So volume is cubed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cube root it. Okay. So that would be the cubed root of 125, that's a 5. And then the cubed root of 343 is 7. And then they want it a 5 to 7 ratio, and I'm just double checking it's smaller to larger, so 5 is smaller than 7. There we go. All right, guys, try this one on your own and push play when you're ready. This is our last one. Okay, if the ratio of the triangular pyramid's volume is 1 to 8, what is C? So C is representing a side length, and the volume is a 1 to 8 ratio. So we're doing side length to volume, and volume's cubed. So let's see. I would say C is to 7.4 as 1 is to 8. Volume is cubed. So this is in inches cubed, and this is in inches. So I could cube the left-hand side, or I could cube root the right-hand side, which I'm going to go ahead and do that because cube rooting 1 is a 1, and cube rooting 8 is a 2. Okay, so I just intentionally got my number smaller, which was nice. I don't always do that. I always think of the best way to solve each problem, use the ways that you're not going to make a mistake. Okay, so then this would become 7.4 equals 2c. Let's divide out a 2. 7.4 divided by 2 is 3.7. And that is it, guys. So I really recommend reading the questions carefully and just taking some thought before you do each problem. Don't just be a robot and cross multiply without thinking about through anything, okay? Really pay attention to what they're doing. Notice how I always wrote what I was comparing, and that just helped me make a plan. All right, guys, good luck, and email me for any questions. Thank you.